speaking with CEO of Deep Fission, Liz Muller. Liz, thanks again for a great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
it's great to be
super
here.
Innovative. I think people have a lot of preconceptions about nuclear we need to overcome.
Yeah.
You talked about kind of three elements in there that I think underpin the whole concept behind Deep Fission.
Yeah.
Your water, your geophysical, your geothermal, and what you're doing with existing borehole technology.
Yeah, exactly. So Deep Fission is combining three relatively mature existing technologies, but doing it in a new way that gives an unprecedented level of safety and economy of scale for nuclear power. So the three that we're combining are pressurized water reactor technology. So this is the most common type of nuclear technology that exists today. Hundreds of plants around the world use pressurized water technology. But we're combining that in a new environment, which is a borehole a mile underground. So we're also using drilling technologies out of the oil and gas industry to drill our hole and to operate our reactor at a mile's worth of depth. And then the third technology that we're bringing in is geothermal, because how do you get the heat out of a borehole? Well, geothermal is really good at that exact problem.
It's a wonderful explanation. Speaking about deep, you guys have deep experience base in this industry. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're laughing because, of course, I've got deep isolation, deep
fission.
But
you guys have a deep bench, deep experience. I mean, this is not a, this is decades of proven technology, proven science. And very, very in-depth analysis of the opportunity.
That's right, and deep isolation led directly to Deep Fission. So deep isolation is doing nuclear waste disposal in boreholes a mile underground. We need to solve the nuclear waste problem. Yes, the volumes are very small. Yes, there's not a lot of nuclear waste, but it is still irresponsible to kick the can down the road and to leave the solution to the future generations. So deep isolation has been around for about 10 years, looking at nuclear waste disposal solutions in boreholes. Now, Deep Fission recognized, importantly, that in a borehole a mile underground, you actually have the circumstances you want if you wanted to take the cost out of nuclear power. So nuclear power is so expensive because of the construction, right? You have a lot of construction for containment, for pressure, and then also for potentially emergency core cooling systems. But if you're in a borehole, you're surrounded by 1 billion tons of rocks, you have great containment, you have 160 atmospheres of pressure, so exactly the pressure that you would want for a pressurized water reactor, and you have a column of water above you for emergency cooling without having to build any of that. So we expect to be able to lower the cost of conventional nuclear power by about 80%.
Those are literally sunk costs. Couldn't help myself.
Oh, okay, I'm going to groan, but yes.
Well, again, we talked about preconceptions. The demand is now, and it is accelerating exponentially. Nuclear projects take a decade, at best case, to build. Tell me about the way you confront that time frame issue.
That's right. So historically, they've taken 6 to 10 years for a conventional nuclear project, but that's because the construction is so slow. There's so much you have to build. Now, we know a lot about drilling. Drilling is not slow. Drilling is remarkably fast. So we expect to be able to drill our boreholes in about 3 to 4 weeks. We're not talking years here. We're not even really talking months here. So this is an exciting development because we expect to go from construction start to reactor operations in about 6 months. So truly a breakthrough when it comes to timing.
That's unbelievable. Some good news on the regulatory front. It's amazing what some tailwinds and some regulatory certainty can mean for investors and for the ability to plan. What about your plans going forward the next year or two?
Yeah, so we are very excited that it was just announced that we are going to be participating in the Department of Energy pilot program for test reactors. So what this means is that we are working towards getting our first reactor operational by July 4th, 2026. So that's less than a year. It's at a very ambitious and aggressive time frame, but we expect to be able to get a lot done and to move very quickly, and so we're very optimistic that we'll be able to have the pilot done in 2026. Now, moving from pilot to commercial should also be fairly straightforward because it's going to be the same reactor. So the reactor that was just licensed for the pilot program with DOE authorization, our target is to then move that over to commercial licensing with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and that should be a straightforward straightforward process, given that it's already been licensed by the Department of Energy. So we're not really putting estimates on exactly how long that would take, but then building a few additional plants at the same location. We're looking at a first commercialization with 10 reactors, 150 megawatts, proving out that not only can we build this, but we can do it profitably at about 7 cents per kilowatt hour for the first of a kind. And we're expecting to do that in the next couple of years.
Outstanding. You mentioned commercialization. Tell me about your customer base. Who's coming to you? Who needs what you guys do at Deep Fission?
Yeah, so data centers are probably the biggest one. So we've already been working with Endeavor data centers, Endeavor Edged data centers. They're a developer company. We have an agreement with them for 2 gigawatts by 2035, and we're working very closely with them to get those projects up and running. There are other data centers as well as industrial parks. Eventually, I think will be utility scale as well. But in terms of taking that first of a kind risk, it's really data centers and potentially industrial parks that are the most interesting.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I will say that Deep Fission is available. You can find out more on our website, deepfission.com, and we're really interested in people's perspectives and ideas and questions, so thank you.
The future is fission, and it's here. Liz Muller with Deep Fission, CEO. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
Great
so
presentation
much.
today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.